Welcome back to Gold Derby. I'm Christopher Rosen. I'm joined by Joyce. And Joyce, it's the holiday week. We're getting together.
It's our last one of 2021.
Wow.
Right?
This is incredible. I've had so much fun doing these with you, and just this is great. But and so we got a great present this week, the shortlist. We waited to get them on
Christmas came early because last season it came in February. So
right. Love this. Love the regular schedule. Excellent stuff all around. So we were going to go through the main categories. And if you're watching this and you're like, wait, they never did a live action short or animated short. That's intentional because we don't know enough about those. I personally don't know enough about those potential nominees yet because I haven't watched a lick of them.
Full disclosure, we still need to watch.
So rather than blindly speculate on things we have no idea about, in this case, usually I do that. I reserve that for other things, Joyce. But in this case, we'll just table that and go with like the real meat of the short lists. Before we get into it, what was the overall takeaway of those? Any big surprises for you before we get into the individual short lists?
I was happy to see the Les Doolin score, but then it wasn't in sound.
It really, a lot of these, honestly, like that is maybe the headline is a lot of like weird or strange, like one movie showing up in one category on a short list and not another category when you would think it should be in both or neither, or how it like, and then how that factors into maybe the broader support of it as a Best Picture nominee. I just found that really fascinating, I think. And I'm sure we'll talk about that in a lot of places as we get along. But we will start with documentary, Joyce, because on this Academy Awards PDF that I'm looking at right now, it is the first category listed.
I love that you have the PDF and not just like on its website. Or like
no, I'm on PDF. We're keeping it really official here. I want to make sure I got every communique from the Academy here. The potential 15 films that will advance for documentary feature were Ascension, Attica, Billie Eilish, The World's a Little Blurry, Faya Day. Another one what was it?
Day, I think it is.
Great. Another one I will struggle to figure out, but I will make sure I work hard to figure it out. The First Wave, Flee, In the Same Breath, Julia, President, Procession, The Rescue, Simple as Water, Summer of Soul, The Velvet Underground, Writing with Fire. This is a great 15, and actually I feel like a lot of the potential nominees will be movies that people have actually seen, which I think is great and very well liked. I guess looking at it, top line for me was like Summer of Soul feels like a movie that could win, or Flee. I think those are like the top two in our odds at the moment.
Yeah, I think it's like Flee came out very well. Flee's looking good in multiple categories.
And I think this will get, so with here, potential as a bet, like, so we have the 10 Best Picture nominees, which we'll talk about as we go through. But since we're starting with documentary and there are two documentaries here, do one of these two documentaries that really could rate get in for Best Picture as well?
I mean, that would be great because I feel like people, just like with like animated movies, like people don't consider these films as a Best Picture contender, really. Like we've had some animated films get into Best Picture, but no docs. And I think people just like to like relegate it to like, oh, you have your own category. And then, it's like the same thing with foreign language or like not in English, like right. Parasite, and people were like holding out against it. So it'll be cool. Like we have, a solid 10, maybe one or two open spots.
I think so. And I think we'll figure that out as we talk about this. So I was like, is it overthinking? Summer of Soul is a movie with Questlove made premiered at Sundance and has gotten incredible reviews, I think mostly, and really kind of has resurfaced at the end of the year because I feel like a lot of critics lists have put it on the top 10 and seemingly a lot of critics groups remain very interested in it. I could see, I think it's very well liked, at least. I don't know. If you're going through 10 Best Picture nominees, is that one of your 10 favorite movies of the year? If you're a voter, probably, if you saw it. It's on Hulu right now. Searchlight was great getting out screeners. That was like one of the first screeners I got. I don't know about you. I got it on digital.
Yeah, they were sending like physicals and digital.
Right. So I'm like, maybe it gets in.
I think it'll get in here. It could even win. And yeah, I think Flee can get in. And then I don't know, like The Rescue in The First Wave, I can see getting in. the first wave is the COVID doc. So I don't know, that it was about like literally the first wave last spring.
I wonder.
So now it might be, I don't know if it's like going to be too much. We're in season 3 of COVID right now. So.
I would say the only problem with the first wave too is that In the Same Breath is also about coronavirus, and I thought that was incredible as well. So I wonder if like that gets in. I don't know. Or maybe neither of them get in, because I think last year wasn't Alex Gibney's doc did not make it here, right? Like about coronavirus, totally under control. I don't believe
that was also, I mean, yeah, but that was like a completely different type of COVID documentary, you know?
Yeah, more about the Trump administration's failures.
Yeah, like the first wave is about the essential workers.
Right. And In the Same Breath kind of tracks it from on the ground in Wuhan. And yeah, very good. Potential Billie Eilish here as well is another favorite. I mean, people really like that documentary. Though I hazard to wonder if it's a little like, I mean, was Miss Americana not nominated last year? I don't remember. It wasn't, right? It did not get in.
It wasn't. Did it make the shortlist? I don't remember.
I don't think it did. And I know the song from there did not make the shortlist either. And I wonder if The World's a Little Blurry, which I think is like in that same class as Miss Americana, very good movies and like really great. But I wonder if that'll like ding it a little bit because it's like a little bit of a hagiography, perhaps. But
yeah, and I don't know, it doesn't seem like the type of thing they would normally go for, you know, like to make the final 5. If anything, maybe this just shows like Billie Eilish can win original song for a 2-year-old song. Like
correct.
She has a lot of support.
Correct, which we will get to shortly. I guess any other ones here. Velvet Underground was another popular one. Todd Haynes' documentary.
Procession is that's like that. It's a long movie, I'll say first of all, but it's a really good and creative film because it follows these 6 men who were abused by Catholic priests in their youth, and they do drama therapy. So they like script out everything and then they filmed it. And like all their little short films are like actually in the movie. So that's why it's so long. But it's really well done. So I could see that having an outside chance getting in. So I remember you. I think you interviewed the filmmakers for that one, right? Did you do that? Yeah, I talked to the director who was also the editor. So
it sounded quite good. So it's a lot of usually I think documentary is filled with a lot of great films, and these 15 seem like really good. And I don't know, any permutation here, I feel like could end up being like a very exciting category. Though I think if you were betting Flea and Summer of Soul to make it in, those seem like very, very safe bets right now. Yeah. And if you had to pick one of those to win, I think that would also be a safe pick, but I guess we'll see. International film, Joyce, we're going to get to Flea again, which is the Denmark submission. The other 15 films to advance to the next round were Great Freedom from Austria, Playground from Belgium, Lunana, A Yak in the Classroom from Bhutan, Flea from Denmark, Compartment Number 6 from Finland, I'm Your Man from Germany, Lamb from Iceland, A Hero from Iran, The Hand of God from Italy, Drive My Car from Japan, High from Kosovo, Prayers for the Stolen from Mexico, The Worst Person in the World from Norway, Plaza Catedral from Panama, and The Good Boss from Spain. Another ridiculously good category that I think could end up with 5 movies that everyone has seen, or at least has the ability to see. Like Drive My Car, Hand of God, A Hero, Flea, and I don't even know, I'm Your Man could be one, or The Good Boss, or Worst Person in the World. I think those are like popular ones for that other spot. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Drive My Car, A Hero, Hand of God, and Flea, I could see getting in. And then
I mean, Worst Person in the World is a great critical favorite, and it was rated pretty highly, especially among like the New York film critics, it seems.
I could see like Compartment Number 6 getting in. I have not seen that one, but I know like it's liked, and the Spain one, like they didn't submit Parallel Mothers. They submitted Javier Bardem's film instead, not Penelope Cruz's. So
it's true. And I actually, when I talked to Javier Bardem, Joyce.
You asked him about this?
I did actually, because I was like, I wrapped it into a question about his big year, because he was also in Dune, as you remember, and obviously being the Ricardos, and The Good Boss has gotten like, I think it's a record for Goya nominations. among films released in Spain. It is a dark comedy where he, I think, is not necessarily a good boss, despite the title. But yeah, I could see that. I mean, like, that is definitely a well-liked film for sure. But I wonder if the bigger names here in the category would make it in. I feel like we're talking about potential 10th Best Picture nominees. Drive My Car has to now be really a major factor, I think, based on its critical acclaim. It won New York Film Critics Circle and LA Film Critics Association Best Picture. Seemingly has gotten a lot of buzz for a 3-hour movie.
I feel like it needs like a lot more like support going forward to like really crack it. I don't know. I don't think it's not like a Parasite level, obviously,
No.
but I don't even know if it's like a more level either. You know what I mean?
I would say that I was looking at the nominees today, and there is room in adapted screenplay. I think we've talked about this for like a fifth, and I wonder, like, it could get in there for sure. And another, like, maybe a very underdog Best Picture, right, contender.
And like maybe
Best Director, right?
like,
yeah,
just
right.
Like the surprise, like,
right.
Auteur.
I mean, we'll see. Obviously, there's a long time to go, but I was wondering that. And
were you surprised by the big snub that a lot of film Twitter was upset about?
So Titan was not nominated, not even
France.
From France, did not make it here. The Cannes winner, a movie that people maybe thought was a dark horse for Best Director, right? And maybe this makes it. Some counterintuitive take was like, maybe because it was snubbed here, it actually increases Julia Ducournau's
I don't know about
director chances. I don't think I believe that either. I'm not surprised. I have to say I haven't seen it yet. I have the disc here from Neon right here next to me. I still haven't watched.
Same.
So I apologize to Neon and to the Titan.
You know what? That's what like the Christmas break is for. So
yes, because definitely over Christmas break when you're with your family, you want to watch
body
horror
this movie especially.
About it was definitely a big swing, and I'm like kind of disappointed. Honestly, it didn't make the short list here because like I feel like the more creative, interesting things that are in here, the better. But I was not necessarily
respect
surprised
that they tried.
Right. I guess the questions would be like, who cares? But I'm like, hopefully that doesn't discourage like a lot of countries in the international feature film category from submitting the bigger swings in the future, and instead going with like the basic stuff. And yet I look at this list and it's like, admittedly, some of these I have not seen or heard of, but a lot of them on here I think are like not like very basic, let's say, right? Like it's like they're good movies. There's a lot of good movies on here. I just wish Titan, it would have been nice to make it, I think, but
and like I always thought like, it would probably just be like too weird for them, and since it didn't make it, then it's like, okay, but I think maybe like down the road eventually, like the makeup of the Academy and the membership will like change enough where a film like this could get in. I don't know when that will be, but I hope like it doesn't discourage countries.
I'd also say it didn't feel like a slam dunk, because I think even the critical consensus wasn't like universal.
It's kind of divisive,
even among like film Twitter elites, it was not totally not fully embraced, but alas.
But the stands are very vocal.
Yes, of course. Always. The stands are always vocal. That's why they're stands. Makeup and hairstyling. These are the 10 films that advanced. Coming to America, Cruella, Cyrano, Dune, Eyes of Tammy Faye, House of Gucci, Nightmare Alley, No Time to Die, The Suicide Squad, and West Side Story. A hilarious bunch of movies here, because a lot of them that you would thought would rate elsewhere did not rate, right? So like Suicide Squad is here in hair and makeup, but not later in visual effects. Cyrano is here in hair and makeup, but not in any of the music categories. It's a strange.
I always love those categories because like this, and I guess you could say visual effects. But this especially, like this is a chance for like, non-Oscar type of films to get nominations. And Suicide Squad, it won last time. So
and the makeup is awesome, because I think if you've seen it, it's like gnarly makeup. But like when Pete Davidson, this is a spoiler, but Pete Davidson gets his face blown off in the first 5 minutes. And I think that is a makeup effect. It is like there's a little enhanced with visuals, but like when they later show his faceless body in just a graphic moment.
I mean, like why can't it win again? It's won before.
Right. I actually think it, and I actually thought the Suicide Squad was actually good. The James Gunn film. It flopped and nobody cared about it, but I was like, this is a good movie. Anyway. The only movies here, I would say, Joyce, would you? There's about maybe like, if I'm being generous, maybe 4 potential Best Picture nominees here as well, right? You have West Side Story, Dune, and House of Gucci. What else would you see there? Anything else? And maybe Nightmare Alley, or the 4 that were like potential Best Picture nominees.
Yeah, but like only Dune and West Side Story, we would
So
say.
that bodes well, I think, for them in this category, I would say, just because of their, like, you figure they're going to get nominated for Best Picture too. So maybe
yeah, and you know, like the makeup and hairstyling in West Side Story is like very underrated. Like that's not the first thing you notice, but it's very like the grime and like the so it would be cool if that got in, but I think, I mean, it will get it.
Yes.
And then Cruella, I could see Coming to America get in here too.
I think Coming to America could get in as well. Cruella, I could see getting in. Tammy Faye,
Dune, I think can get in. Yeah, Dune can even win, really.
Dune and Tammy Faye, I think, are the top contenders here. Myself.
And Suicide Squad, is that 4 or 5? How many days?
I think that's 5. And I guess the dark horses would be like Nightmare Alley. I think No Time to Die, because of like the Rami Malek makeup, is pretty.
No Time to Die everywhere on the short.
Well, and here's another thing. Is No Time to Die, does this potentially become the 10th Best Picture nominee? That was the other thing I was thinking. It rates in a lot of these shortlist categories, which again, maybe doesn't mean anything and maybe it doesn't get in anywhere, but it gets like 4 or 5 of these like tech nominations. And I don't know, does that like push, is there enough support for like the final Daniel Craig movie to get Best Picture? We obviously have seen those final movies not get in when there was like a fluctuating list, but like Avengers Endgame didn't make it, like that kind of thing. So I don't know. And does Spider-Man being here also like complicate it? Which who knows? But anyway, I was
not in makeup and hair, but
no, but I'm saying in general for like Best Picture. I mean, but like there's No Time to Die maybe as well. I don't know.
I mean, like the thing is, I think we like to use these as like tea leaves because, like, yes. I mean, I think it is helpful and indicative in some ways, but not completely because. No Time to Die made like 4 or 5 shortlists here. Mm-hmm. Like that's great. Like there's a lot of support, but it could very easily not get nominated.
Correct.
Like these are not the nominees.
No, I know.
Yeah,
I know.
I mean, I think it will get nominated in multiple categories, but
well, I think it could, right? And like the other thing is like all the tech stuff is awesome because you have like we said, like another person I've spoken to, but like Lena Sandgren is a cinematographer, one for La La Land. I think there's a lot of cool like cinematography in No Time to Die if there's like a bunch of broad support, even though that category is kind of crowded with like incredible contenders. I don't know, maybe there's like a big No Time to Die push, but it would be strange if it got a Best Picture nomination and like Skyfall did not. Yet I could see it getting in at the PGAs for sure, based on like
PGA like that, and like Spider-Man could get in the PGA.
Right. So it's like if it's gonna have a PGA and it could have like a lot of tech nominations throughout and like a lot of guild nominations, maybe it does get in Best Picture. Who knows? We'll see. I have not moved it in yet myself.
I do not have it in.
So we'll see. Music original score. We love this category.
Love the music categories always.
Love the scores here, and still was furious that like so many I really love.
You tell everyone what you storied last night on Instagram.
I storied on Instagram Cyrano. It's just incredibly.
Is that your favorite score of the year?
I still think the Cruella score is my favorite personally. It's definitely the one I've listened to the most, but I would say like Cyrano is definitely the best songs of the year and not in either of these categories. But the short list was Being the Ricardos for Daniel Pemberton, Candyman, Don't Look Up, Dune, Encanto, French Dispatch, The Green Knight, Harder They Fall, King Richard, Last Duel, No Time to Die, Parallel Mothers, Power of the Dog, Spencer, and Tragedy of Macbeth. Great list. No Lost Daughter, which I was really upset by. I think that score rules. No Cruella. No Luca, which I was shocked because I was just like animated feels like very easy. And Encanto got that here, but I was like, no room for Luca, I guess. I don't know. Suicide Squad.
Like our boy Nicholas Bertel is here for Don't Look Up, so it's okay.
So you got to figure. It's the nominees, Joyce. I mean, looking at this quickly, I was like, Power of the Dog, seemingly a favorite. Also with Dune, right? Those are the 2 favorites, Hans Zimmer and Johnny Greenwood. Mm-hmm. You have the potential for 2 Hans Zimmer and 2 Johnny Greenwoods here. Is that right?
Yeah, yes. But I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think so either. So it'll be Dune and Power of the Dog. Parallel Mothers score. has been really highly enjoyed by a lot of people this year. I think
I really like that score.
I think that could get in. And French Dispatch, Alexandre Desplat, another perennial nominee and probably a 2-time winner, could get here. And then I think the last spot would be, so if that's Power of the Dog, Dune, French Dispatch, and Don't Look Up, the last spot could be Daniel Pemberton for Ricardo's. I think Chris Bauer's score for King Richard is great. The Harder They Fall, I think the music has been really highlighted. Tragedy Macbeth, Carter Burwell, another perennial nominee. A lot of good stuff here.
Yeah, I think like Dune, Power of the Dog. I would probably predict Parallel Mothers just as like the wild card. Like I feel like that's kind of been like the like surprise contender recently, and I think it hasn't been like on top of mind because the film's been kind of underseen.
Yeah.
But I think like we know like Sony Pictures Classics just targets like Academy members and like, you know, the industry.
Yes.
So like we saw what they did last year with The Father. So I think they're gonna make it happen for him maybe here, and maybe even like Penelope Cruz, an actress. So I could see that getting in. I don't know if Johnny Greenwood will get in for both Power of the Dog and Spencer. If I had to choose one, I would just choose Power of the Dog because that's my preferred one of his two.
I would choose Spencer. That was my preferred one, but okay. I think they're both really good. I think Power of the Dog will get him in because it's just a bigger movie and like people like it more.
Yeah, I listen to that score all the time.
Dune, I think, is obviously a great score.
Yeah, and then I also listen to the Don't Look Up score.
So the Don't Look Up score is interesting. Do you think? I mean, I think it'll get in because of Bertel, but do you think it has enough to win?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's as good as his previous 2 nominated scores. So it will be funny if he ends up winning for this. And
I would still say
Moonlight or Beale Street, but you know, people win for the wrong movies all the time.
Yes, so. It's true. And he wouldn't be. I'd say he'd get nominated for the wrong movie. No offense, Don't Look Up, which I really liked more than Cruella, but I won't go to bat for that Cruella score. It rules. It's so good. He's so good.
You know, they should just like do like a body of work nomination.
Maybe. And French Dispatch, I think Desplat would get in, but I would say like there's one really, really memorable cue. It's like the opening of the opening montage of Bill Murray's like obituary, basically, and I think it's like really great.
So Desplat, he did that, but he did not do Nightmare Alley.
Correct.
And that's not here.
Correct. And I actually spoke to Nathan Johnson, is the composer, another person I interviewed, Joyce.
Did you jinx him?
I guess I did. But I was really impressed with the score. It's really quite good. And I thought hearing him talk about it was really interesting. And I wonder if that movie just ramped up a little too late.
I think it was. I think there are like late breaking films, but I think this was kind of like too late.
Yeah. And it's a great score. And I think if you watch the movie, it really does a great job in the film, but again, it was a little late. And I was like, this is another canary in the coal mine for me, where I was like, does this mean Nightmare Alley doesn't get in for Best Picture? It's kind of missing in a lot of these shortlists where I thought maybe it would rate. Yeah,
it also missed sound here. So.
Correct. So this is a great, I don't know, a lot of these are great. I would say I'm excited to go rewatch The Last Duel and check out the score, because I'll be honest, I didn't really pay attention to the score, honestly, even though it's got a great.
I would love for it to get in, because it doesn't really have a chance anywhere else since it didn't get shortlisted for sound, but I don't think it's getting in here.
What any other, so I mentioned a bunch. What scores are you like, I can't believe that missed the cut? Anything?
I mean the Cyrano score is really good, so I guess and like it's a musical, so it's like it's funny that it did miss both music categories.
So the Desner brothers, Aaron and Bryce Desner, did Cyrano music and also Come On, Come On, which was another score that people really liked and did not make it either. And I wonder if they split their own vote, I guess. Was there not enough? I don't know.
Or like that movie could also be underseen as well. So it's not even known yet.
That's the other problem, is like both of those movies feel like they're kind of in a little bit of a bubble. And outside of Parallel Mothers, which, like you said, I think Sony Classics did a great job of getting out in front of the right people. The rest of these movies are either earlier in the year releases or bigger, louder movies, let's say, right? Like Being the Ricardos and Don't Look Up made more noise in their pre-release runs, and everything else is the only outlier that I would say I would add to like the Cyrano come on list would be Tragic Macbeth, but that was already screening in September at New York Film Festival. So it's like,
and it's a good story. Carter Burwell, like,
and Carter Burwell is obviously a legend. So yeah, it's an interesting list, I would say. But I do wonder the lateness of those movies maybe it's not worth paying attention to that at all because they can still get it. I don't know. But original song, most star-studded in the history of the Oscars.
It maybe is because I mean, usually there's like a big snub or two here, but I feel like everyone who's a big name got in, or at least people like we were earmarking.
So we have So May We Start from Annette, which is Sparks Brothers or Sparks. Down to Joy, our pal Van Morrison from Belfast. Right Where I Belong from Ryan Wilson. Automatic Woman from Bruised. Dream Girl from Cinderella. Beyond the Shore from Coda. The Anonymous Ones from Dear Evan Hansen. Just Look Up from Don't Look Up. Dos Orguitas from Encanto. Apologize again for the pronunciation flop. Somehow You Do from Four Good Days, which is the Diane Warren track, I believe, right?
Yes.
Guns Go Bang from The Harder They Fall, Jay-Z. Be Alive from King Richard, Beyonce. No Time to Die for No Time to Die, Billie Eilish. Here I Am, Sing My Way Home, Respect, which is Jennifer Hudson. And Your Song Saved My Life, which is U2 from Sing 2. That's a crazy category. That has the potential to be really the most star-studded ever. Billie Eilish and Beyonce, I think, are like the top ones. And I think Jay-Z should probably get in for Guns Go Bang because like people have kind of gravitated around that. Everything else, I think, is totally up in the air. I think Van Morrison, Down to Joy, has a really strong shot, even though it's hard to remember where it is in the film. But as you told me last night when we were texting, it's the opening montage of Belfast.
Yeah, but then also, as I learned last night while I was like Googling it, like the song has no digital footprint. Like it's not online at all, like not even lyrics, like no like music video or like even a lyric video that some of these songs have.
Strange because Belfast has been out for over a month. Yeah.
And like this has been like also reports since like the film premiered at Telluride that like, oh, Van Morrison like has a song in this movie,
I love So May We Start from Annette. I think that's a great song, but I don't know.
That's going to be this year's Husavik.
Possibly. It's like rare. And I can already picture the opening number at the Oscars with that song. They should actually just do that. It would be great. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Billie Eilish seemingly is the favorite. Be Alive from King Richard, another favorite. I think it's not peak Beyonce, I would say.
No, and like she's never been nominated before, so right. I don't this would be her see them like being like we have to nominate Beyonce for this song. But I think she'll get in, or maybe not. I don't know, but I think Billie has the edge for a nearly 2-year-old song, and I'm gonna reserve a spot for Diane Warren, not just because I interviewed her about this, but she wants to go for her Biggest Loser record, so she's over 12. She wants number 13 here, so.
I would say Just Look Up from Don't Look Up would give us a potential 2 Kid Cudi nominations because I think he's also on Guns Go Bang from The Harder They Fall, and 2 Bertel nominations because he's obviously up for potentially Score as well. That's great. From a Best Pictures perspective here, Belfast is really the only, and Don't Look Up, I guess, are the 2. King Richard as well. King
Richard, yeah.
But that's it. Those 3 maybe, and I guess Coda we mentioned, right? Coda as well. So that's.
Yeah, I like that song from Coda. I don't know if we get in. You know who we need to look out for though?
Who's that?
The reigning champ, her. Automatic Woman.
Surprise nomination, I would say, for Bruised.
The industry loves her.
Yes, so that's another one to keep out on, and maybe even put her in. I didn't put her in yet, but I was like, I did think.
I think I might put her in.
Anything here you were like, I can't believe they didn't get in? It seems like they really picked up all the big ones.
Well, like Cyrano.
Cyrano is really the only one. And again, I wonder if there were too many songs. I don't know. Or too late. Who knows? There are a lot of great songs in Cyrano.
I don't know what was submitted. So
right.
But I mean, it's like there's multiple songs in Encanto too. So
true.
But that was their main push. So I mean, Encanto will get in. Like we have a Lin-Manuel Miranda going for the EGOT again.
I mean, I could see it getting in. I don't know. I still think the Billie Eilish song is like the front runner, but I think Encanto could get a really big push. It's actually on Disney Plus this week, and I feel like.
So the thing is that like there's no like huge hit in
right
this lineup. Like,
No,
you know, there's
No
big
Time to Die
names,
was
big
not making it.
artists, but none of these songs are like a Shallow or like,
Right.
Let It Go or anything.
Strange. So last year we were her won this category, and for a song that none of us, I think, would say was super memorable. We were definitely pulling. You and I maybe, or our bias was showing, pulling for Husavik because it just seemed like it had a bigger.
I mean, Husavik should have won. No offense to her, but
we were also like trying to figure, like, you know, looking at it like, oh, it's the bigger. It has a bigger factor in the movie because it's like so important to the movie, and blah,
which
blah, blah.
I still think should be a factor when you're voting for these things.
But it doesn't seem like it is, Joyce.
No, because they just kind of vote for whatever. If there's no like obvious frontrunner like a Shallow, like I think they just vote for whatever movie they have seen and like the most, and they really like Judas.
So then I think that puts in
with that win and like Lakeith's nomination.
So correct. So using that logic for this year, and looking at this list, I would say like the Van Morrison song from Belfast actually has a very strong shot of winning, because I mean,
I'm not gonna call anything until we get the nominations.
Sure, so. We can't. Nothing is nominated, but I was just like, in my head, I was like, if the Judas and the Black Messiah, because I think you're right, it was like the most of the category, it was the most popular movie. People really like that movie, and so that's part of the reason why it won. I wonder if if Belfast ends up in here with Van Morrison, the fraught Van Morrison for the discourse. It would be incredible.
You know, who knows what the ceremony will look like in
Might
over 3 months from now, but probably won't be able to go.
So that would just be a totally chaotic delight to me.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that comes.
But you know what? You'll save time. You don't need to give him like 2 minutes to perform the song or whatever.
Great. So we're skipping the shorts here. They were next on my list. No offense to any of these nominees, and we will make sure to do it. We'll do a short. Joyce, I think we should do a shorts one of these.
A shorts after
shorts. Yeah, after we watch them. Into Sound, 10 films in advance were Belfast, Dune, Last Night in Soho, Matrix Resurrections, No Time to Die, Power of the Dog, A Quiet Place, Spider-Man, Tick, Tick, Boom, and West Side Story. I got to say, none of these were incredibly surprising to me. I think I saw some people being like, oh, the fact that Belfast is included is a bad good sign for its, it obviously means it's like a major Best Picture contender. No kidding. I think, but you and I talked the other day and we were like,
we're predicting Belfast.
Sound, great sound, great sound, beautiful sound in Belfast.
I think I almost called it an action movie, which that was not what I meant. It was just, it has riot scenes.
Yeah, and it's good. So, I mean, I think Dune is the front runner here. It was the front runner before these shortlists even existed and remains so. The sound of Dune is quite great. Power of the Dog, I think, is a major factor, and West Side Story and Tick, Tick, Boom. I don't know. Obviously, the musicals usually do well in these sound categories, and they're both great sound.
Yeah, I can see West Side and Tick, Tick, Boom getting in. Tick, Tick, Boom, just the sleeper hit of the season, really. And
so you'd have the 2 musicals. Dune,
No Time to Die.
Belfast.
Is that 5 already? Because Dune has.
Well, it'd be Dune, Belfast, Tick, Tick, Boom, West Side Story. Then there's 1 left. So it could be No Time to Die. It could be Power of the Dog.
I would love for Power of the Dog to get in because it's not like boom boom sound, but it's excellent Foley work.
Yeah, that would be my pick too. But I could see No Time to Die getting in here because it's definitely loud. A lot of. I mean,
we talked about this last week, but A Quiet Place too.
Well, it made the list, and it was obviously a big factor here. 4 years ago, whenever it came out, the original. So I guess it could get in. To me, I thought the novelty sort of wore off, but who knows? Maybe it doesn't, and it gets in. The sound work is still great. It just is we've already seen it. Mm-hmm. I don't know. And I wonder.
Again, this is another one that Nightmare Alley and Last Duel did not make it in.
Strange that neither one made it in. Somewhat disconcerting for Nightmare Alley, I would say. I don't know. It feels like it should have gotten in here on the short list. Visual effects, Joyce. We have a potential of 4 Marvel movies.
They all got in.
They all got into the short list.
Their entire 2021 output got in.
So the 10 films are the 4 Marvel movies: Black Widow, Eternals, Shang-Chi, and Spider-Man. And then Dune, Free Guy, Ghostbusters, Godzilla vs. Kong, The Matrix, and No Time to Die. I put all 4 Marvel movies in just for the hell of it. Yeah, I did.
Okay, sure.
Actually, that's not true. That's not true. I did not put Black Widow in. I got the 3 Marvel movies, and I have Eternals, Spider-Man, and Shang-Chi. Those are my 3. And then I put in Dune and what was my 5th one? I think
Matrix?
Godzilla vs. Kong.
Godzilla.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Dune will probably win.
Like we said, he went to space, Joyce. I'm still believing it. It was so good. I feel like I was on another planet. So I think the special effects there have to win.
I don't know if multiple Marvel movies could get in. I would love Shang-Chi to get in because I love Morris in that movie. And the effects in No Way Home are fine. I mean, they did some de-aging for some characters. And like the final battle sequence is better than Black Widow's final battle sequence. So
I would say the wild card possibly is Ghostbusters Afterlife, depending on what the tone around the discourse around the effects are and like the morality of them, I guess. But I don't know if you've seen that movie, Joyce, but they bring back I'll flag this as a spoiler alert. So if you're watching this and you're still waiting to see Ghostbusters, they bring back Harold Ramis through CGI, even though he died many years earlier. It's done very respectfully, and I know his family was involved, but I wonder if people will how they will react to it. I would say, remember in Rogue One, they did that with Peter Cushing. They had him in the movie, even though he's been long deceased. And I didn't think it looked very good. It definitely looks a lot better in Ghostbusters. So that technology has certainly advanced. And I wonder if that'll get it in because it is pretty
I mean, Rogue One got in, but I don't know. It's also Star Wars.
Right. So we'll see. I thought that the fact that it made the shortlist here, I think is significant in that regard because I was not necessarily expecting it. The one movie that we both had talked about as a possibility here to not make it was Don't Look Up.
Yeah, I think that actually has good effects, but I also don't think people think of it as a visual effects movie.
They don't, no. And all of these movies are visual effects movies. So there you go. And is that it? That's the short list, Joyce? That's it.
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned Suicide Squad wasn't in here.
Suicide Squad wasn't in here. And again, having seen Suicide Squad and at least many of the Marvel films, I would argue that the effects in Suicide Squad were better than the effects in
you know what? This just means they could just concentrate their campaign on winning makeup again.
Hey, I'll tell you what. I'm putting it in right now. I'm moving it in. It's in. I put it in. I don't know what to bump out though. I guess I don't know. My nominees are that I'm doing in the live update: Dune, Tammy Faye, Gucci, Cruella, West Side Story, and Suicide Squad. How do I get Suicide Squad in? What do I pop out? Maybe Cruella. I'm doing Cruella.
Okay.
Apologies to my favorite.
Costumes.
Apologies to my favorite film, Cruella. So Joyce, from a Best Picture perspective, maybe trending down because of how it performed would be Nightmare Alley, though you could argue it just was too late and maybe it has no bearing on any of it. But no sound, no score. Seems and maybe no visual effects. You could have argued it could be in there.
It didn't really have that many effects, did it?
I think a lot of the violence is effects, maybe, though it could be practical effects as well. And I think a lot of of having talked to the production designer, who I think should win for best production design, Tamara Deverell, I think a lot of their, and the cinematographer as well, who I spoke to, I think the effects were subtly enhancing a lot of the stuff they were doing practically. So again, it's tough to say it's an effects movie, but I do think the effects work is so seamless that you think it's all real. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. I wasn't surprised that Nightmare didn't make the effects shortlist. Whereas I was with Don't Look Up because there are more effects in that movie that are clearly effects, but I don't think you think of that as boom boom explosion superhero effects and stuff. But yeah, Best Picture, I haven't had Nightmare Alley in my top 10.
Yeah, I had it in. Now I'm thinking of taking it out.
You're gonna take it out for what?
Well, that's the thing. So the options would be a Nightmare Alley, which remains a pretty strong in our odds. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, seventh in the odds. So it still has a strong.
Pretty high for. I think people haven't updated.
Tragic Macbeth would be an option, which we both watched this week. Very Shakespearean choice.
Well, yes, yeah.
So
if you want Shakespeare,
it is
the movie for you.
Yeah, this is big time Shakespeare. So yeah, no, that could certainly has got a lot of impeccable crafts and a lot of very well liked people on the crafts. So Bruno Zebinel for cinematography, like we said, Carter Burwell for the score. I think it could get in a lot of places, and maybe that pushes it to a Best Picture nomination. It was on the MBR list and
Wait, was
AFI
Macbeth
list.
sound?
No, it wasn't, was it?
I don't. Oh yeah, it wasn't.
Which is weird because again, the sound is also really
yeah,
good.
the sound is really good in that movie.
But I wonder if the Belfast got the sound slot that maybe it was earmarked for Macbeth. Who knows? So Macbeth would be one option. And this is if you're going with these 9. Like, I guess any of these movies could not be in, but my 9 choice, and I think we have a similar 9, was Power of the Dog, West Side Story, Belfast, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, Don't Look Up, Dune, and Coda, and Tick, Tick, Boom. I guess if they were going to knock somebody else out, maybe Don't Look Up is vulnerable based on like the response.
Yeah.
But
because like Coda and like Tick Tick Boom have like passion behind it, and Don't Look Up also isn't out yet. It comes out on Christmas Eve on Netflix. So
and Coda and Tick Tick Boom have the corresponding acting nomination that we both think will materialize. So it's like Don't Look Up maybe is its above the line chances are not as strong as those other two. So I guess Don't Look Up maybe would be 9th.
It's also more divisive than those two.
So you'd have Don't Look Up. So if there's 2 spots, let's say there's 2 spots, even though I have Don't Look Up in. If there's 2 spots remaining, you have Don't Look Up and Nightmare Alley. You have Tragedy Macbeth and Being the Ricardos. I think those are like the biggest names, maybe, right? Like of the list, I would say. And then I don't know, Lost Daughter, I could still see sneaking in. I don't know how, but I think if it's going to get, I think if it gets like a few above the line nominations, I think it would do really well. I didn't really expect it to rate anywhere in the shortlist, though. I do think the score was viciously snubbed, and in the shortlist, I would go down swinging for that. And then you have like Drive My Car, Parallel Mothers as potentials, and then like we were saying, like No Time to Die or Flee or any of these.
It would be really cool if they did go for like a left center type of pick, like one that you wouldn't expect, and instead of something like, no offense to them, like Nightmare Alley and like Don't Look Up. Like these are movies that people expect to be nominated even before like anyone saw them,
Right.
It was so like just like it would actually be cool if they did No Time to Die or like Spider-Man.
And I guess I wonder, like, you're smarter than me, so you would maybe know this, but
am I?
Like with 10 nominees, does it help then to have like the very vocal, passionate minority of support? So like is like would Drive My Car or Summer of Soul with like a lot of really excited people around those movies in smaller numbers maybe getting over like a Don't Look Up, which maybe has like more muted broad support?
Yeah, like I think you still need like the number 1s and 2s and 3s, like.
So then in that regard, I'm wondering, like, do one of these get in? And like, because like no one is, even me who like I really love Don't Look Up as an example, I wouldn't have it like very high up on my list of Best Picture nominees, just because I think there are other movies that I enjoyed more or liked better. And so like if I'm like if I'm a supporter of Don't Look Up, then like maybe that's not the greatest sign if I'm not going to have it in my top 3.
Yeah, and also now, like, because when it was still like the flat scale, they only listed 5 movies on their ballot for nominating round, and now because it's a hard 10, they get to list 10. So I guess also like how many people are actually going to fill out all 10 spots too, because I can see some people not doing that, like if they just like 6 movies.
And then I think with No Time to Die, like I think as the producers guild, I think it'll get into the PGA nominee, frankly. Like it seems like pretty like likely, honestly. And then again, not anybody's favorite Bond, let's say. And I think Skyfall certainly had more broad acclaim, but a movie that I think was very significant because of what it meant for like the industry. It was a huge hit, an international hit this year. And I think the cumulative support of like Daniel Craig's final film in the series, there's an argument to be made that it could sneak in. And especially because like I think it could get at least 2 or 3 below the line nominations.
It's definitely get stuff below the line.
You get score, you'd get song, sound, maybe, cinematography or production is any one of, they could get like a wild card for third one of those, and then maybe it gets in. I don't know.
So like, okay, 13 years ago, they snub, The Dark Knight, and that's the
Yes.
whole reason why they
Yes.
expanded Best Picture.
Yes.
And we've had a few like huge hits. I mean, like, yeah, Black Panther got in, obviously, but that was also like, like culturally significant, whereas you would not say the same thing about Spider-Man, which I deeply enjoyed. One of my top two favorite movies of the year, really, like that and Power of the Dog, two Benedict Cumberbatch movies, opposite two Spider-Man stars from Sam Raimi film, and two Peters. But yeah, so I like it, like they were trying to expand their palette and acknowledge, like these like yes, yeah, crowd pleasing, like populist films that maybe are not like prestigious. I mean, like The Dark Knight had more like a prestige factor because of Nolan, obviously, but so it would be cool like if they do nominate something like No Time to Die, even though I agree, I don't think it's probably not in people's like top 3 favorite films of the year, but there's also 10 slots, so I just pulled up like we've only had 2 years with a solid 10, so I'm going to read those nominees.
Okay, go for it.
So the films of 2009, the nominees were The Hurt Locker, which won, yes. Avatar, The Blind Side, District 9, An Education, Inglourious Bastards, Precious, A Serious Man, Up, and Up in the Air.
That's a great, so I would say that's a great list of best pick. That's a broad spectrum of different kinds of movies. And
like that's the whole purpose of like the expanded lineup.
Yes.
Yeah. So then in 2010, we had The King's Speech, but won 127 Hours, Black Swan, The Fighter, Inception, The Kids Are All Right, The Social Network, Toy Story 3, True Grit, and Winter's Bone.
So similar makeups. Now, obviously, the Academy is way different than it was 10 years ago and 11 years ago. But I would say similarly, like mix of highfalutin art house fare with like really big box office, like mass appeal movies. So with that in mind, then I think like it's a different world and who knows. But I think like Drive My Car is definitely like Drive My Car, Flea, and Summer of Soul all are like should be taken more seriously, maybe as best picture nominees.
Especially with like the influx of like international members.
And I think that's why I actually don't know if like A Lost Daughter could get in, even though I think it's really good and it should have like at least 2 above the line nominations. And then I don't know, I think Bond could get in then. I think one of those big movies could get in. I just do.
I just feel like it would be more of like not like a statement, but more like notable if one of those like movies you just named got in instead of like being the Ricardos or something, like no offense to being the Ricardos, but it's like that's just, I don't think people would like really remember that, and it will be seen as like filler because no one is expecting it to win either.
Right. So Joyce, I'm doing this right now. I'll tell you what, I'm doing it live. Drive My Car, I'm putting it in.
Okay.
No Time to Die, I'm putting it in. I've taken out Don't Look Up, and I've taken out Nightmare Alley.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you have anything else for Drive My Car?
Besides, I actually have it in adapted screenplay, and I have it in foreign language film. So adapted, I'll just scroll over to adapted screenplay here. I put in adapted screenplay. Because honestly, the nominees for that category we've talked about, and then
it's a pretty open category, let's say.
Yeah, Power of the Dog, Lost Daughter, Coda, and West Side Story, I think are like the 4 that everybody is locked in on, and then the other for the 5th spot would be Nightmare Alley, Tragedy of Macbeth, Dune, and Drive My Car, and Tick Tick Boom, and then like passing lower down on the list. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can make the case for Dune because I think that's a strong Best Picture nominee and contender. I think Nightmare Alley, no matter what you think of the film, I don't think the script is maybe the thing that people are walking away from really excited about. No offense. I mean, the movie's good, but like they're more
and
focused
like
on
Shape
the
of
crafts
Water,
and the performance. Right. And Shape of Water didn't get in either, right?
But it didn't win. So.
It didn't win.
Yeah.
Tragedy of Macbeth, we've talked about a little like how hard it is for Shakespeare adaptations to make it in.
Well, like they just like don't win really.
So I'm like, I don't know. And then Dune, I think, is good, but I'm wondering, I don't know. I could see it getting in, and then Drive My Car is next in the list. And I'm like, maybe, who knows?
I mean, right below Drive My Car is Tick Tick Boom. I could see that getting in if they just really go head over heels for it.
Certainly could. It's great. So who knows? But anyway, those are my picks now. We'll change. I'm sure I'll change it before we talk again. But I'm going to Drive My Car, No Time to Die, using the earlier 10 list as a guide.
Okay. I mean, that's it. That's not a bad list. And honestly, I think a lot of people would prefer your list.
Well, I guess the only defense I would have is, like we said, like, I think you could put like 4 of those movies in the same bucket, which are movies with like really passionate support, good movies, but maybe everybody is like, has them lower on the list. There's not a lot of passion maybe behind like Don't Look Up or Nightmare Alley or Macbeth or Ricardo's. Like there is passion, but maybe not broad passion and not as like euphoric as it might be for like a Drive My Car. I don't know. We'll see. I could have them all back in next time we talk. So take all this with a huge grain of salt.
This is just your last update for the year. That's all.
Yeah, that's right. Might as well end 21 on a bang. Joyce, anything else before we wrap up here?
I don't think so. What was your favorite movie of the year of 2021?
I've been thinking about this actually. My favorite movie of the year is probably Licorice Pizza, I would say. I saw it again and I really loved it. The only other one I would say, the other 2 that I could consider would be Coda and Cyrano were my 2 other favorites, both of which made me cry hysterical tears. They really touched me emotionally. And so like when I get something out of a movie that like really, it's like
when they make you cry, that's when you know.
It doesn't have to make me cry, but I just want to actually like feel something. And those 2 were like, oh yeah, this is good. Code I just loved. I really want to watch it again, but I haven't. So how about you said Spider-Man and Power of the Dog? Those are yours. I'm seeing Spider-Man right after we get off this. I'm going to go to see Spider-Man.
I know you're in for, I don't want to like hype it up too much for you,
Okay.
but it's not like the best movie of the year. Like I would not give it Best Picture, but I would not be mad if it got in.
That's good. Maybe by the time I come back from it, and this is going to be
there's just like a lot to talk about, and I already told you how I felt about a certain person in it. Yes. In another category.
Yes. Can't wait.
Yeah.
All right, Joyce. Well, have a good one. I'll let you know how Spider-Man is. And okay. I'll put it in.
We'll see everybody else, our like 2 listeners next year.
In 22. We'll talk SAG when we come back, I think, Joyce.
Yes, SAG.
That first week. All right. Bye.